They trying to confuse you. Don't fall for that. Yee, yee, like yet. I know it's wrong, so hello and welcome, привет! My name is Yana. I'm your native Russian speaker, and you, me, and Duolingo are gonna do lesson 4 in Unit 2 in Russian on Duolingo app. So let's jump right into it. Вьет is option 1, and it might be just a little bit tricky to distinguish between these two words, but just so you know, вьет is the option 1 because the second option is word вот. Вот versus вьет. Can you hear the difference? Вьет, we can hear the letter yo and the soft letter v that goes first because of the soft symbol that goes right after it. And вот is just simple O sound. Вот вьет. Вот вьет. And that's how they look visually. Вьет, soft symbol, мягкий знак, letter yo right after it, create this smooth, fluid transition. Вьет. While вот is just simple, one vowel in a word. Вот вьет. Вот вьет. So вьет means tangle, and вот means that, just like that. For example, вот так, or depending on the context, could be вот она, here she is, or вот он, here he is. So good to know. This is soup means это soup, and soup versus soup are very similar. So I hope you already added this word in your Russian dictionary inventory in your head. Soup in Russian means soup. Сон, шон. Son, in this scenario, it's a first option. We can hear the letter S in the beginning. Son, son, and shon, letter sh, sounds very different from letter S, but can be sometimes confused and pronounced quickly. Son, shon. Maybe. I don't know. You let me know. Doesn't sound similar? Son, shon? The doctor and the teacher means врач и учитель. Doctor и учитель. The reason I said врач is because that's a second common word used in Russian language to name someone who is a medic, who is a doctor. Doctor or врач, which is much shorter. But did you know that the врач is the second word for doctor in Russian language? You let me know. Yell L. These are a little bit trickier, I think. The only reason I believe that this is a little bit tricky is because in this particular example, it's only 2 syllables in both of these options, so they're definitely trying to trick us. But because we know how letter Y sounds, which is yeah, yell, versus L, yeah, hopefully you can grasp the difference between yeah, that goes a little bit like yeah, versus it's very open, very rich sound. L, echo, for example. And versus yell, it's a little bit yee, like yeti, yell. So in this particular scenario, it's the first option, yell, yeti, yell, versus L, echo. Very close in Russian as well. Is the coffee here means coffee здесь? We do not have a question mark in this options for words. We also in Russian don't use like Spanish very smartly, just the question mark in the word itself. So we have to rely on purely on the translation here. Translation asks a question, therefore we imply that coffee здесь means a question as well. But it also could be a statement. Coffee здесь versus coffee здесь. So coffee здесь? Question mark. I drink wine means я пью вино. Пью means drink. Я пью. If we're talking about she drinks, we say она пьет. The same with он пьет. If we're talking about they drink, они пьют. So what a пью changes. Depends on who we're talking about. Я пью, она пьет, они пьют. So we're not even gonna go into Russian tenses yet because that's hopefully something we'll be covering later on, but believe me, we don't want to go there just yet. So, я пью вино. Boris eats cheese. I am tempted to say Boris, but funny enough, in English language, I notice people like to say Boris, but it's actually Boris. So I feel conflicted internally. Boris, Boris. I know it's Boris, but every time I see it written in English, I am tempted to say Boris, but I know it's wrong. So Boris eats cheese means Boris ест сыр. The milk and the bread are here means молоко и хлеб здесь. And both words молоко and хлеб, so milk and bread, are example of the words in Russian that are written differently from how they pronounce. So молоко written with the 3 letters O, but it's pronounced молоко. I haven't heard people who are native Russian speakers say молоко. Nobody says that. People say молоко. Same with хлеб. Хлеб is written with the letter B in the end. So technically it is хлеб, but nobody says хлеб. People saying хлеб, which sounds like B. So молоко, хлеб, don't get this confused. They trying to confuse you. Don't fall for that. Молоко и хлеб здесь. I do not eat meat means я не ем мясо. Я не ем мясо. If we would be talking about he or she, so он or она, we would say она не ест мясо, они, they не едят мясо, мы, we не едим мясо. So the word eat, ем, is gonna change depending on who is the conversation is about. Она ест, они едят, мы, we едим. So я не ем мясо. The cook eats the cheese. Повар ест сыр. The word eat takes the form of ест because повар could be he or she. If we're talking about many cooks, повара, then we would say едят. Они, they, повара. Они, повара, они едят. They eat. Они едят. If we would say we eat cheese, we would say in Russian мы едим сыр. So повар, singular, he or she, ест. I eat the meat and the bread. Я ем мясо и хлеб. And the familiar to us form ем, form of the word eat, ем, because we're talking about ourselves, я ем, она ест, or он ест, они, they едят, we, мы едим. Мясо, just like хлеб, we already know the хлеб is written a little bit differently from how it's pronounced. Мясо the same way. Мясо, it's technically мясо. That's how it's written. It's written with the O in the end. But in a casual conversation, we just say мясо, which sounds like but it's actually O, but мясо. Where's the menu? Где меню? So if we would answer this question, actually, the very first pair of words that we were supposed to distinguish in this lesson was вьет and вот. So if I would ask you где меню, and you have a menu right here, you would say вот меню. So here's a good example of how to use word вот. And also a good reminder how different it sounds from word вьет. So, где меню? Вот меню. Где меню? Вот меню. Вот меню. And also, don't you just love the idea of how the word menu in English changes to menu in Russian? I hope you do, because I do. Alexandra eats bread. Alexandra ест хлеб. Alexandra, in this scenario, Alexandra is she, so she eat, она ест, or Alexander, that would be he, он ест. Александры, plural, они едят. Мы, Александры, мы едим, we eat. So, wonderful opportunity for us to start noticing the behavior of the verbs in Russian language and how they change depending on who is it that we're talking about. So Alexandra ест хлеб. And just for your information, it's a full name, and the short version of Alexandra could be Sasha. I do not want juice. Я не хочу сок. Я не хочу сок. If we would be talking about she or he and they don't want juice, we would say она не хочет сок, or он не хочет сок. If we would say we do not want juice, we would say мы не хотим сок. They do not want juice. Они не хотят сок. So я хочу, он, она хочет, мы хотим, Они хотят. Have fun. Does Yulia eat bread? Yulia ест хлеб? I'm tempted to just pronounce name Yulia as Yulia because that's a short version of the name Yulia, which is not that much shorter. But Yulia, that's a full. Yulia is the short. And in this scenario, Yulia is a she, and she ест. Она ест. Он ест, for example. Они Юли, они едят. Well, I hope you get an idea. You get an idea. So, Юля ест хлеб. Она ест хлеб. He does not drink milk. Он не пьет молоко. Он не пьет молоко. Она не пьет молоко. Я не пью молоко. Они не пьют молоко. Мы не пьем молоко. Он не пьет молоко in this scenario. And we're done. We definitely started to practice in the grammar side of Russian language, which is so not fun at all, I think, because there are so many instances on how to use the verbs correctly. But to be fair, any language has these parts in it. Я пью, она пьет, мы пьем, они пьют, я хочу, она хочет, они хотят, мы хотим. All of these verbs, we can see similar behavior in changing the ending of the word depending on who we're talking about. But the more we're going to be doing it, the better we're going to become on this. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and leave it a like and subscribe if you do. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Пока!